Bringing the vision into a mission, this is a global mission of peace with the GoldFish report. On October 14th, 2015, I am Radagast, and I am here with our GoldFish reporters, our media outreach, Louisa.
Hi, thanks for joining us.
And Sanjay, the wonder from down under.
G'day, g'day, g'day. It's a pleasure to be here for you guys.
And the voice of the dragon, the ambassador.
Good day, everyone. It's nice to be back to you all. And today we're going to have some small discussion about certain events that they will ask me questions to different people. I will answer them, and then after that I will go on in a small little rant about things, and then we're going to try to keep it in a timely fashion today. Okay, so let's start.
Okay. Well, today we have quite a few things in the news. We have really continued issues about the TPP, which really seems to be a Trojan horse, for most people. We have also the CIPS payment system, which I wanted to ask the ambassador about because I think it's a little confusing. This is a new form. This is the China International Payment System, which is supposed to be an alternative to SWIFT, but I think the ambassador can go into some more details about that. We were just talking about it. It's a little bit confusing because we're not really quite sure, which system that we're on, or, whether we're supposed to have two or one. So he can explain that to us.
Yeah. What I will explain on that, now since we're talking about it. Okay. What I explained for a long time, I said it is a new SWIFT system coming up. I've been talking about that for a long time now. It's activated finally. Basically, it's not a replacement for SWIFT. It's an alternative. Okay, so if you want to settle in Chinese renminbi, you can now do it. If you don't want to be blocked on the SWIFT system by the cabal, you can use this system without being blocked. So this is an alternative. It's again 555 overcoming 666, and I believe that most nations will use the Chinese system instead of the old Kabbalistic SWIFT system. So I think this is a great news. It's a step in the right direction that we've been waiting for and working for years, and now it's just another piece in the pie on the plan of reconquering humanity. Okay, so this is a very good news. On the international treaties and so on. So yes, I believe it's a Trojan horse. There's a lot of confusion when it comes to internet. Also there, we have also built an alternative internet grid that takes through all the BRICS nations. So if you're part of a BRICS nation consortium, you will be protected on internet. And hopefully the rest of the world will be joining this thing too also in the future. And I have good hopes for what's happening and for the upcoming events. For sure.
Does that have anything to do with, I think, these financial techs, the fintechs that are trying to come up and create Bitcoin, and then there was another one, which I don't remember the name. It was like a funny name, Zuma or something like that, to create this alternative currency. I mean, where do you see this alternative currency kind of? Do you think it's going to be replacing the way that we're doing intercontinental commerce on the internet?
Yeah. The problems that we've been having in the past is that the SWIFT system has been controlled by the cabal in Brussels, and they've been implementing sanctions against Russia and other institutions and countries. And now what have happened here is that SWIFT didn't want to do that, but they were forced to do so by the cabal. But now basically we have set up a full active system that is as well and as good as SWIFT, and where you can go and do your business without having any sanctions or any implementations or any stop and blockages. You can go to Iran and take out your money or send your money and do your business wherever you want to do it. So this is a way to liberate humanity and to put a new kid on the block that can basically take away the old kid on the block if our old kid on the block doesn't want to do the right thing. So this is a very good system. Okay.
That's great, but how does Bitcoin? I mean, do you see a future for Bitcoin?
I see a system for anything, as long as people believe in it. Okay, if people have belief in that system and have a value in that system, I think it's going to work out great. And if people doesn't have it, then it doesn't have it. But I believe we're going to need to find a lot of new ways to make money in the future and to deal and exchange in goods. Already today, many countries chooses to, pay the settlements in gold and silver, and or in other commodities. So I think that this is something that we're going to see more in the future.
Right. On an individual level, though, I mean, this is what the TPP is about. I mean, really, we were trying to deal with, internet commerce. And there's so much regulation with this Trans-Pacific Partnership that is really the reason why there's a lot of people up in arms all over the place protesting. And in Germany, we had, 250,000 or 100,000, I'm not sure what the accurate number is, but it's all over that people are really protesting this because it is a Trojan horse, like you said, and I think it really only exists for the benefit of the entitled, the politically powerful, and the lobbyists who have really pushed this through for the past 8 years to its completion at this point. So it just seems like really what the provisions for the public are non-binding, whereas the provisions for the rights holders are binding. So there's some sleight of hand going on here, but it all pertains to the internet and really how we're going to even do commerce through the internet. A lot of it has to do with regulating copyright, and really it's this whole net neutrality thing, and it just seems like there's way too much Big Brother regulating everything. So I think at some point, we're going to have to kind of deal with this Bitcoin thing, and also maybe, I don't know, Swift really isn't something that I think that we would deal with on an internet level, but for our viewers, this is something that would be more on a day-to-day issue for them. How does this kind of thing really tie into how's it going to affect their life? Sanjay,
it affects them as
Pastor.
much as they want. Understand?
So they can use.
You either empower the beast or you don't.
Right.
Understand?
My whole thing with this, one of the things that I see is often many people or have had this meme stuck into them, largely through the alternative media, that the BRICS nations are just the new cabal. And you see that sometimes when we put it, they go, oh, it's the same new boss, same as the old boss. And this is something that people get stuck in. So it was like when Louise had mentioned about Putin being a good guy, there was like all this attack on her. I mean, if any of us had said it, we would have been attacked. And again, this is something that's been planted in their head. How many people know President Putin personally? And if you don't know him personally, what kind of opinion can you really have? I mean, you're getting all your opinions of third hand by who delivers you the message. And so when the CIPS should be something that we can all celebrate, because now there's an alternative, there's a choice. And a lot of people go, oh, well, yeah, some choice is just a new cabal. And this kind of a lack of knowledge or lack of understanding of what's really happening here, I think is something I'd like to presence for people to listen. No, this is not the same thing at all. This is a real different system, but it's meant as an alternative. Nobody's stepping on any toes. It's just kind of like you have Coke or Pepsi in as far as a marketing thing goes. But actually, it's kind of like one. And I would say actually you have Coke, or you could have like a good fresh squeezed organic juice. But, it's just a different way of doing things. And I just would like to disabuse people of the concept that this is just more of the same, except there's a different boss running it. This is a real shift on the planet here and the way we relate to each other and how we do business.
That's right, Radagast, and you can see the evidence of that in so many different ways. And I know Sanjay has, brought this up many times on the GoldFish report. Sanj, did you want to comment?
Well, with Bitcoin in Australia, we've had a little bit of a take up on this, and the banks have been aggressing on people. So there was news the other day that anyone that was a Bitcoin trader, their bank accounts got closed by the big four banks, and they're not allowed to have a bank account. So the banks see Bitcoin as a opposition and as a movement for the younger generation to take it up. So, I mean, it is the future. It is digital currency. I'm still old-fashioned. I like my real notes in my hand. If I've got it, I've got it. But in the cloud everything's in the cloud. But with this TPP, there's bigger problems with the tariffs and the medication and all the patents, right? If we leave one group of people with the patents on our food, on our medication, well, then we open ourselves to a lot of problems. And this is why a lot of people that are awake actually fighting against it, because it's a big veil of secrecy around it, right? Like, as you said, the Trojan horse, that's been compared to the Trojan horse, that they're bringing this in with all the corporates inside of it and saying, hey, like, accept this horse, it's all great, it's a gift. But inside of that, when you're asleep, will come out all these pharmaceutical companies and all the stuff that just will say, well, now we own it. You can't have the rice because we've patented it. You can't have the fruit because we've patented it. You can't have the medication because we've patented it, and you've got to pay this. So that's the fear that people have. That's why they're writing.
Yeah, one of the issues, I mean, it's a good thing that you brought that up. It's a very good point, because it seems like they're also, they have restrictions. Some of what I read was indicating that they have some kind of intellectual property. They don't actually even have to, they have like 30 or 40 years to even file for that patent or that copyright. I mean, it's just, it's so far-reaching. It's overreaching in terms of being practical and even being fair in any way. This is not a fair agreement whatsoever. Then they have another 70 years protection on top of it after that, and so it just seems like it's a little bit. It's not in the. I don't think it's in the best interest of the public domain. For the public themselves. That's really kind of very exclusive to the extreme, exclusive rights to give somebody 40 years to file, and yet they'll be protected for it. And then there's very stiff fines. I mean, people will be fined. They have the right to, and then they have these other rights that go along with this. They have the right to make a claim against you on the internet, and those claims can, result in very steep fees. And it's like, how do you really, this is just a disaster. I mean, I don't really see it being very user-friendly and workable for people. Go ahead, Sanj.
Well, in Australia at the moment, we have that problem. The cigarette companies, Australia decided that we're going to stop making cigarette packets with colorful pictures, right? So they made it plain imaging, so you don't know any brand. There's no brand, it's just plain colors, and it has the cancer message and stuff on there. And the cigarette companies moved themselves from Australia to Hong Kong and then sued Australia as a government, as a corporation. So this is the thing. Once you give them the power and it becomes a corporate thing, well, it's one corporation saying you're restricting trade to the other corporation. It's like, so like as Rediger said, Coke and Pepsi, right? Coke could say, well, to Pepsi, no, you can't make Pepsi Max because we already have Diet Coke. Well, that'll be silly because we don't have a choice. And going back to the CIPS system, have with the SWIFT, we need to have this parallel so people have a choice, a genuine choice, not a monopoly on one person that can control everything and block everything.
But what do you think the agenda is behind it, though? Don't you think there's got to be some really, I would think some sort of, I would say satanic agenda going on? What is it that we're not seeing? There's got to be something else, because what we're seeing is usually not what the agenda is. It's usually something behind it. And so what do you think is really the ultimate goal with them achieving this? Anyone?
With my limited knowledge, yeah, I was going to say, with my limited knowledge, I think I'm going to stick to what I said. I think that's a question more for the ambassador. He has deeper knowledge and deeper understanding of this stuff.
Do you think there's another agenda going on? But why is it that they want to push this through? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think it's the same thing. I think it's just, again, same thing. Is that they want to push their system up against the 555 system. We have our own system for internet, our own system for this thing, and that is in place. So they're gonna make people choose pest or cholera, or I want to have lasagna instead of spaghetti. And basically, you can choose where you want to be, and which platform you want to use your thing. So I think it's good. Finally, you have a choice. We didn't have that in the past.
Radigas, did you have a comment?
Yes. I mean, for me, what's happening is we kind of know, people who are in the know that governments are corporations. But they have to to not get busted, they have to make believe they're still governments. So what I see happening here is governments are making this treaty that allows corporations to kind of become the government. I mean, if a corporation comes into your country and is in violation of, it is completely screwing up, with pollution, and you stop it, this TTP allows the corporations to sue the country for the finances they lost just from doing business. The fact that they were polluting means nothing. But everything becomes monetized. Everything comes about the bottom line. And to me, the reason why the governments are pushing this is because they really are corporations. But by handing it off to the corporations, that's why it's so secret. By handing it off to the corporations, the real control that's been going on, the 666 control, takes over. And, so I think that's really what we're having. We're having governments that are corporations, making believing they're governments, negotiating treaties amongst these corporations to really hand it off to the corporations that can be the bad guys while the governments go, well, it's a treaty,
That's why you're the wizard, Radagast. That's why you're the wizard, because you have just opened it up. You have really, that's ultimately what they're doing. And, that's for complete control and domination. But it's the behind the curtain, it's the Wizard of Oz thing that I always talk about, because nobody really knows who the wizard is. But, well, in this case, it's a different wizard than you, but you're the one who's really you are the wizard who's pulling the curtain back in this case. So it's a little bit of a different twist.
I'd like to think of them, the trolls in their caves, actually.
Right, exactly. So there is this ultimate agenda, but there's some other things in the news too that we could talk about today. There's quite a few things. We were also talking about how, well, when you're talking about sleight of hand, there was an article that we saw on the alternative media about the Republicans looking to impeach President Obama. And they've actually taken it to the next step to actually have a vote on this, which I didn't hear about. I don't know if my, legislator would be voting on this, but it just seems like another probably dog and pony show to me. So, but I know that Radagast, I think, had made a comment on that before as well. But it just seems like, Rad, that's pretty much what's going on there with that. Or maybe the ambassador wanted to comment on that.
Yeah, I think so. I think that what is happening is that they try to make a chance for Obama to stay a little bit longer time. That's my personal opinion. So he can fulfill his mission on completely destroying America. That's my personal opinion.
But people are going to say, well, how can he be, if they're going to impeach him, then how can he be president longer? And there's a trick behind this. Maybe you can kind of explain that.
Yeah, because basically he needs to put, this is a hostile takeover to keep attack on the president's office. So he can make his little decree and basically labeling them as enemies of America, and basically implement martial law and protect himself so that he can do what he's supposed to do from the beginning, which he so far yet didn't succeed to do.
So it's kind of like a false threat. So in other words, it's another dog and pony show in the U.S. American government. Seems that way. And, I mean, could it result in a coup d'etat? I mean, I don't think, the Republicans are really, they are so divided at this point. I mean, you've seen how many, candidates there are. It just seems like, why would they do it now? Why can't they wait 2 years for the election? So I guess what you're saying is, and there's also some news about some imminent false flags that, well, let's see, Simon Parks has actually published his opinion that there's perhaps some false flags that are on the horizon that are imminent right now. And one was, I think, a false alien invasion, which would do the same thing that you're saying, except we wouldn't have to do it with the president. And then the other one was, setting off some nuclear bombs over in the ocean, in the Atlantic Ocean, and causing 100-foot tidal wave to cause, again, the same effect, which would be to implement the martial law and get complete takeover. So it seems that the cabal at this point, or let's say whoever is in charge, maybe it's more than them, maybe it's other people, really there's a push. It seems like there is a push right now to, like, they want to expedite some sort of agenda and they want to do it now. It just seems like there's some sort of push going on. So that's maybe before the election.
I think it's like a desperate person, just throwing his last punches in all directions, hoping that something will hit the target, and that's what I see. Okay, and but by the grace of God, everything will work.
Okay.
We're gonna have on Friday some guests coming in. And I think it's going to be a very good program. And I want to bring these people in. And also today I've been extremely busy, so I have not been able to prepare too much for the GoldFish report. But what I wanted to state is that things are moving very well these days. And we are coming in and doing the things that we really, really needs to do. So it's going to be great news coming the next coming days. So please look forward to the Friday's GoldFish report. Going to be amazing. Okay, and other than that, I would like to thank all of you for being part of this program today. And also I want to say to the people that is a part of the international base jumping competition coming up that you know, if you can, we might give you a parachute. Okay, so please right now take it to your heart, do the right thing, remit and surrender. It's the year of 555. And it will overcome 666. God bless you all. And thank you, Brother Gas. Thank you, Louis. And thank you, Mr. Sanji. Okay? And have a very good day. And see you on Friday.
That's wonderful. And I just want to remind our viewers to please, we are doing a weekly Q&A session with the ambassador. So if you'd like to submit your questions for the ambassador, you can go to our website at www.globalmissionofpeace.com. You can go to the contact page and submit your questions there. And we, obviously have to, we get a lot of mail, so we have to select what questions we're going to answer. And, we certainly would like you to submit questions that are, relevant, I would say, relevant to the things that we do on the GoldFish report and things that the ambassador would be able to comment on. So also as we have announced in the past, or just recently, that we still are accepting proposals for funding for humanitarian projects. And to begin that process, you could present your project in a 5-minute presentation, PowerPoint presentation to the ambassador, and you can go to our website to register for that, and that's at www.cbcglobaleducation.com, and you can go to the workshops page and you can register to pitch your project to the ambassador. We would like to thank everybody for joining us, and again, we also appreciate your comments, and this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.